Hi everyone, I am super excited to introduce this next Ideas Exchange podcast to you. I had the pleasure of meeting with Shawn Naidu, founder and CEO of All Things Are Possible Group, who is a leadership and character development strategist and speaker. As you listen to our conversation, you will very quickly notice his passion for building leaders of character. Or as he puts it, building leaders of character by building the character of leaders. Now, I have to preface this video or this podcast by saying that you will notice that the whole interface of the video is slightly different, and it's done with intention. And the reason for that is that you'll see and hear that Shawn drops a whole bunch of nuggets. So the intention is to use this space for annotations as I bring up all the nuggets that he lands, that he speaks to. I'm hoping that once you are done watching this, you would be encouraged and inspired to watch it again and again and again until you get the message that he's trying to land. So this recording is quite meaty. It's a lot of things to chew on. Enjoy it. And especially because understand this hard message that he's landing, it's coming from a space of caring. He is absolutely passionate about transforming people, leadership, company cultures, one character at a time. He's got over 30 years of experience in human development. Shawn is considered to be a transformational guru with a unique ability to unearth and develop human potential and purpose, and is dedicated to building leaders. His dynamic presentation style, which I'm pretty sure will come through in the podcast, and extensive experience makes him a sought-after motivational speaker, trainer, and empowerment specialist. He holds a BA degree in humanities and is an internationally recognized youth development professional. He's highly skilled, very passionate, and he's got a strong message. So enjoy it, stay focused, feel free to press pause just to process and absorb, but I promise you it's going to be a podcast to remember. Enjoy it. Shawn, hello on this lovely Friday. I can't tell you, I've been super excited for this conversation. I think pretty much everyone across the globe can agree leadership is a hot topic of late. So I've been super excited to get stuck in this conversation. But just for the purpose of our Ideas Exchange audience members, maybe just a quick kind of background before we get stuck in the juicy conversation. Just who is Shawn? What is ATAP Group? And and then maybe just kind of lead us into the journey of character-led leadership.
Good. No, thank you. And I appreciate it, Inga. I hope you're enjoying your coffee as well.
Absolutely. It's nice and warm.
And it rained a little bit this morning as well, on our side at least. So it almost feels like a little bit of winter teasing going on.
I know, right? I know. So, I'm loving it.
But thank you for giving me the opportunity. I'm excited to share the platform with you, Ideas Exchange. So thank you so much. You guys have been doing some great work. Great conversations have been held, relevant topics. And so I'm just excited to be part of this great movement.
The Geek Squad.
It's stronger and stronger. So I'm excited about it. You know, part of what I'm hoping is that it's more than just ideas shared and more than just talking. I hope, at least with my session, at least, it's going to inspire people to do something after the ideas have been exchanged. Yes. Because we have a whole lot of ideas exchanged, people talking, and, you know, human natures, and especially some people love talking, and that's all they do.
Yes,
We talk about change,
absolutely.
but the actual change itself never materializes. So I'm hoping that something great is going to happen through this discussion today. But thank you for the opportunity. So ATAP is the acronym for the name of my company, which is the All Things Are Possible Group. All Things Are Possible
Love
Group,
it.
obviously known as ATAP or the ATAP Group. And as you can hear, I'm very intentional when I chose the name of my company. I wanted to be a conversation starter, and exactly what you
Mm,
about ATAP.
yes.
So we are a skills development, accredited skills development training company in South Africa. But having said that, we are not your generic skills development training company. Our focus is almost exclusively on leadership and character development, and we're going to get into that
Mm,
today. So while we do offer the generic skills development and training offerings, which many clients do need, we tend to focus and gravitate more towards leadership and character development. That right now is where our mission is. We're on a mission to
mm,
speak about character, draw attention and awareness to character, especially of leaders. And so the All Things Are Possible group, just very quickly in a nutshell, and maybe this is a story for another day, was birthed out of pain, as many stories are, right? Was
yeah,
out of pain. And so myself, a few years ago, probably in fact 9 years ago, going on for 10 years ago, found myself personally in a very precarious situation, unemployed, no money, house about to be lost, car repossessed,
mm,
didn't have food to eat, couldn't pay the bills, etc. And listen, I'm not a youngster at that age. I was a grown man, family commitments,
sure.
etc.
Mm,
God, I need you to come through and do something different for me. What is going on? Nobody wanted to employ me.
mm,
And I couldn't believe it, Inga. If you look at yourself and you're talented, you're gifted, qualified, and especially in the area
yeah.
that I was pursuing in terms of community development, youth development, I couldn't understand how people didn't want to employ me within the NGO environment. I'm like, come on, I was the CEO. In fact, I was the part of the pioneer of an
Mm.
international American organization in South Africa. And so I led that organization. And so I came with quite a high profile title. And I couldn't understand how companies didn't want to employ me.
But just on that, Shawn, because that's something that really fascinates me, right? Because if anybody has followed my hour-long vlog about my story, I mean, I touch a little bit on the fact that I've been retrenched thrice in my life, right?
Mm,
And and what I've picked up is something so fascinating about human nature. So when you incorporate, when you've got this title behind you, when you've got this the name of a corporate behind your name,
mm.
it's like you're struggling to just like, you know, keep people away from you.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the moment when you are, let's say, in a desolate space, right?
Mm,
So out of corporate, it's like people just do not want to touch you with a 6 foot pole. And I'm wondering, why is that? It's not like, to your point, you're talented,
yeah.
you've got a proven track record in terms of brand. What is it about human nature that, oh, and then of course there's this whole, I'm pretty sure that's where the whole concept of ghosting started, because people will say, oh man, I'll keep you in my prayers, or
Yeah,
I'll let you know when there's an opportunity or whatever, and then 5 years down the line you've actually forgotten that this person existed.
exactly. But you know what? Even though I mentioned and we mentioned human nature, at the end of the day, I actually don't think it has got anything to do with people,
Mm,
companies, etc. And you should be aware of this because you talk about this, Inga, about
yes,
calling, destiny,
yes,
purpose.
yeah.
Even people, when people reject you, they don't even realizing they're aligning themselves to a greater calling and purpose in your life.
That's
Because when they
powerful.
say no to you,
Yes.
it's the higher calling that's allowing them to say no because that's not meant for you. Trust me, had the people who I went to for interviews, the companies and the organizations, had they accepted me, I would never be where I am today. The rejection was not
Charles,
rejection, but
Shawn,
redirection.
Charles.
Exactly, it was redirection. But here's the thing: you got to understand
Wow.
your purpose. You got to understand your calling to handle rejection. Because if you don't understand your calling and purpose in life, you would be broken by rejection, completely broken. But when you have a sense of calling,
Mm,
you understand, okay, not meant for me, let's move on, something bigger, something greater. And so, in hindsight, looking back now, when I look at the rejections, I say, God, thank you, man, thank you for closing doors.
yeah.
Even the people that closed the doors were used aware of it. And it wasn't personal. It was just, that was not meant for us. It was not meant for me. I'm on a direction where God wanted me to go. And especially in my thing was in 2014 was the launch of my organization, of my company. And once again, you know what, I said, I'm going to employ myself. If nobody wants to employ me, I'm going to employ myself. I looked at my skill set and I said, let's look at my skills and look at my passion. And I went through the process of zooming in and looking at where my passions are, where my skill sets are. And I came up with two very distinct things. Number one, I like to think I'm a communicator. It's questionable whether I'm a great...
You definitely are, don't worry.
Whether I'm a good communicator. And my other, and that's skill, right? That's skill, because I've identified skill and passion. Passion, I love people development. And so I said, what can I do with my passion and my skill, my top passion and my top skill? How can I use that to benefit me, make sure that I earn an income, generate an income, business from it, but also fulfilling my purpose in life, which is to empower people. And that's when I decided, okay, let's get into training and development. And I began to outsource my services to various other training companies around the country. That season came to an end when I realized I'm making other training companies money, making them rich on my brand, my skill, my etc. And I said, okay, it's time for me to do my own thing. And that's where I went to. But you know what, something very significant, and I got to mention this during the worst part of my of that period of my life, I found my brother in Durban, who's a pastor, and I said to him, listen, what's going on? You know, I was hoping that he was going to give me some money. my older brother, you know, I was hoping that he was going to bail me out. Guy turns around and man, he irritated the life out of me. My goodness. You know, when you're going through that level of depression and anxiety and stress, whatever, you don't need people to be smart. You don't need people to be smart. You don't need,
because that's what you don't need. You don't need that right now. Yeah.
You don't need people to be smart and intellectual and philosophical and whatever. But he posed a question to me that was really a defining moment for me. But let me mention, he says to me, Shawn, what are you learning from your crisis?
Powerful.
What do you mean, what am I learning from my crisis? What do you mean, what am I learning from my crisis?
That's not what I came. That's not why I came here.
You know, this is not what I came for. But isn't that part of the lesson of life? So whatever you come for might not be what you're going to get, right? Whatever you think you are here for might not be what you are actually there for. And so he says to me, what are you learning from my crisis? And I'm like, what do you mean, what am I learning from my crisis? Slam the phone down on his face. I tell you, I put the phone down and I thought to myself, how dare this guy ask me, what am I learning from my crisis? What do I don't care about what do I need to learn from my crisis. I need money. I need to be saved here. I need people to help me. I need money. I tell you, Inga, the entire day, that was my words. What am I learning from my crisis? What am I learning from my crisis? I mean, goodness. I mean, I said that, I don't know, hundreds of times until the tone of voice changed. Because something in my spirit dropped and I said to myself, what am I learning from my crisis? Wait, huh? What am I learning from my crisis? Wait, hold on. What am I learning from my crisis? And then I realized my crisis is teaching me something that I need to learn. And until I learn what my crisis is teaching me, I'm not prepared for the next level of my life.
Wow,
there are things in your life that crisis will teach you, that comfort will not teach you, that money will teach you, that security will not teach you, that only crisis will teach you. And that's when I decided, okay, I begin to realize I need to start my own business. I begin to learn about myself, find myself again, my skills, my expertise, my calling, begin to look at who I am, whatever it is. And my crisis taught me, Shawn, you are better than being an employee. You are better than a company paying you what they think you are, what you are much better than that. My crisis taught me not to depend upon other people. My crisis taught me it's time for you to get into your calling, your destiny, and do what you need to do. And here I find myself 9 years, almost 10 years with the All Things Are Possible, changing lives, impacting people. I like to think on some level, having some kind of impact on the lives of people throughout the country. And so that's a short-ish answer to your initial question on ATAP.
But you know, and it's such a powerful journey you've just taken us on. And there's so many nuggets from that, Shawn. We definitely need to do a few follow-up conversations, because I think something that you've brushed over, and I would love, to invite you back to do another conversation, but specifically to touch on, because
I mean, you know that I'm very much on growth mindset.
Yes.
And you know, as a man thinketh, so is he. If you know, change your mind, you change your life. So a lot hinges off, and the way that your life pans out hinges off your mindset.
Sure.
I, I mean, and yeah, like I said, you've brushed over it, but maybe just in short, can you maybe give a sense to the audience of that shift in mindset? Because you you were ruminating on this question your brother asked, because first of all, that's not why you went to him, but he
Yes.
asked such a pivotal question, and the wheels were churning in your mind.
Definitely.
But you went from this mindset of
The fixed
um
mindset.
yeah, to actually just having this. You were filled with this fighting spirit again, and you were filled with this determination. Can
Definitely.
you maybe just quickly
Sure.
sketch a picture of that shift?
Yeah, no, no, definitely. Um, somebody once said, don't curse your crisis. Don't curse your crisis. All right. As long as you're cursing your crisis, you'll never learn from it. You'll never be taught by it.
Mm,
You'll never
mm,
learn the lessons from it because you're busy cursing it. We are, learn this once again, Inga, human nature, right?
mm,
That's where the mindset comes in. And this is easier said than done. So we are not saying this is easy. But I've got a story just like you've got a story. I know what it's like to feel depressed. I know what it's like
mm.
dark clouds over your mindset when you can't feed your family, you can't put food on the table, you're depending on other people, your car was
Yes.
the shame, the embarrassment, all of
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And there are people who will listen to this podcast who are, whereas it's my past, it might be somebody's present reality.
Present.
And you
Absolutely.
think there's no
Absolutely.
hope. But I need to say this that you know what the mindset, this is where the mindset comes in. And it's more
Yeah.
than just a positive mindset.
Yes.
My personal testimony is, it's not because anyone can have a positive mindset. Anyone can just go and read books on positivity, whatever the case
Yeah.
might be. It goes much deeper than that.
Yeah.
As you said, as a man, think it, so is. So every morning, a person has got to be intentional about the mindset that you choose to have.
Yes.
Your mindset
Yes.
is not the way you think is not an event. The way you think is a lifestyle, and it governs your.
Mm.
It creates your lifestyle. Every morning, personally, what I do is I raise my hands. Very first thing, before the very first words out of my mouth is "Thank you, God, for this day. It's going to be a great
Mm.
day. Thank you
Yeah.
for the breath of life."
Yeah.
Very first words that come out of my mouth, because you know what that does? It shapes my mindset. Now it
Yes.
impacts my mindset. Now listen to this. I don't say those positive words in the absence of trials, in the absence of stress, in the absence of challenges, in the absence of difficulties and whatever. I say it in the presence of all things coming up against you, but I choose my mindset every day where I raise my hands and I say,
Yes.
thank you today. I choose the day that I'm going to have. I don't let the day determine how the day that I'm going to have. And so once again, don't curse your crisis. Crisis comes into our lives to teach us things about any and everything else, but the main thing, it's there to teach us about ourselves. Change your
Yeah.
mindset. So when my brother posed the question to me, what are you learning from your crisis? It was profound. Once I got over
Mm.
self, once I got over my anger, once I got over the
Yes.
fact that this guy didn't have a pity party with me, and he dropped a truth
Yes.
bomb in my life, and he says, what are you learning from a crisis defining moment? And so maybe I will take that opportunity right now and pose this,
Mm.
whoever's going to be watching this podcast, what are
Yes.
you learning from your crisis? What is your crisis teaching you? Are you even willing to learn? Are you even able to learn? Amongst the noise, now, let me say this, crisis is often very noisy.
Absolutely.
Crisis bombards you with noise. That is why you can't find your peace and yourself and your own mindset in the midst of crisis, because it's so noisy, because you're thinking of the problem, you're thinking of this, thinking of that. What am I going to do? This, what am I going to do? Where's help
Yeah.
going to come from? How do I do this? Whatever the case is. But if we can just find ourselves, find that peace. And in our case, in my case, going to God and say, God, I need you. Let me be still and be calm and say, what do you want me to do? How do I handle this? Because sometimes we need help greater than ourselves, right?
No, absolutely. We definitely can't pull ourselves out of something out of our own strength, because at that point in time, there's actually no strength left, right?
Definitely, definitely.
Mm,
Battlefield of the mind. And that's where the battle is. The battle is really
mm,
the mindset. And to create a positive, and it's not just a positive mindset, because people can be positive on an intellectual level. And it really doesn't help them. It's more than just an intellectual positivity where you're reading this, reading quotations, feel good moments. We don't want feel good moments. We want feel good lifestyle.
Yes. Yeah.
A positive life. And somebody once again said you cannot have a negative mind and have a positive mindset. But these are things we can explore on the next chat that we have in terms of mindset and how your thinking can get you out of yourself and away from yourself.
Yeah. No, I agree. And sorry to cut you word, and I agree, because I think all of that it still hinges on and hinges off leadership and what leadership is about. Because as a leader, when you come into an office or whatever your business setting is, but a leader sets the tone, right?
Okay.
And so if your mindset is not in a healthy space, everything coming off of that, your decisions, the way you speak to your team, it you know it just puts a damper on everything. And you can't fake the positivity, or I mean, I think the term toxic positivity has been used before as well, because people can pick up on whether you're authentic or not.
Definitely.
So, and I think to segue then back into what your business, what your consultancy is focused on, character-led leadership, I think is such a powerful message. How do you sort of make it real for people when they hear, because nobody wants to hear or talk about character, right? Because now you're putting you're shoving the mirror into their faces, and you're saying, listen, if this is not what you look like, then how dare you even call yourself a leader? Or maybe I'm just being harsh with that last sentence, but I mean, yeah, how do you make... Actually, no, let's just track back the genesis of character-led leadership, and then let's take it from there.
I tend to focus on leadership and character development. It's my mission, it's my passion. Myself and the company, our mission is to bring character back to leadership. I'll say it again, we need to bring character back to leadership. Unfortunately, in the skills development and training industry, we are focusing on the development of skills development. But we neglected. In fact, there's not even a feature in terms of leadership and character development. We're developing the skill of people as if the greater the skill, the better the person. As if the greater the skill, the more advanced the person, the more valuable a person. And that's not necessarily true. And I will make a few statements. And by the way, I tend, during my chats with people on these kinds of platforms, during my training, I often like to give a caution that a lot of saying might not be likable.
I love it. Bring it on. This is what this platform is about.
And I know you won't be offended by it. And I mentioned this to you the other day. Because we do people development, I find it almost impossible to develop people without offending them.
Yes, absolutely.
My brother offended me.
Yeah.
But once I got over myself, it empowered me. So often,
but don't you... Sorry, Shawn, but don't you find that point of offense, right? That trigger moment, that's where the change starts to happen.
Exactly.
Because you can't change when you're in a comfort zone.
Exactly. But here's the thing, it's about what you do with the offense. All right, the offense, somebody says something. And listen, Inga, how many of us have not been there, done that, we've experienced that? And you probably have people in your life right now where they're going through a cycle of the same old. They need change. They must change. They have to change. They don't see where, how, and whatever the case is, even though intellectually they know they need to change. And you come along and you say to them, Inga, girl, you need to change. You need to stop that, and whatever the case might be. Why do they turn around and you point them in the right direction? You advise them some valuable insight. They turn around and get upset with you. Who are you to tell me? You live your life. Let me live my life. And so they needed to hear that, but the truth offended them. All right. And we all know the saying that says the truth often hurts. And so during the chat with you, I'm probably going to be saying some things that might not be likable and often offensive, but I'm really very aware that often it's impossible to develop people without offending them. All right. So knowledge is not power, and I mentioned this to you a few moments ago. knowledge is not power. There's the assumption that knowledge is power. And you know, early on we had the chat about these quotations and these sayings, and it sounds so good and it sounds so nice, and we just embrace it on the surface level. But if you were to pick it apart, you actually realize that that's absolute nonsense.
It just sounds good. It just tickles the ears, but that's it. It's a platitude.
Exactly. So they say knowledge is power, and we believe that over the years that knowledge is power. Knowledge is not power. What has become evident is that knowledge without character has become an abuse of power.
Wow. Okay, you have to say that again.
I'm going to say that again. They say that knowledge is power. What has become evident is that knowledge without character has become an abuse of that knowledge and of that power.
Sure.
So knowledge in the absence of character becomes the abuse of that knowledge. Inga, let me state a fact right now. If you were to look at the biggest atrocities in the world, be it in companies, governments, company cultures, the biggest atrocities, the biggest abuses, ill treatment, bullying, intimidation, victimization of people, power, and position is not perpetrated by people who don't have knowledge. It's perpetrated by people who are highly intellectual, smart, gifted, talented, have a wealth of knowledge. But do you think it stops them from being bullies, intimidators, victimizers, abusers of people? Do you think it stops them from even being corrupt? It does not. Knowledge is not power. Character with knowledge, and I've posted this on LinkedIn some time ago. Leaders do not lack the skills and the knowledge to do what's right. They lack the character to do what they know is right.
Okay, Shawn, I have to stop you here because going forward, you need to take it very slow because you're dropping so many mics right now. I'm struggling to pick them all up from the ground. Those are powerful statements. Wow.
Definitely. So yeah, please at any point just stop me and we can just go over some of the stuffs again. And if you know me, Inga, you would notice that I love these nuggets. It's self-created nuggets. Very rarely I quote other people, and I love to drop these nuggets. So leaders do not lack skills and knowledge to do what's right. All right. They lack the character to do what they know is right. So when people are corrupt, as an example, even the most highly corrupt person knows they should not be corrupt. Intellectually, they have the knowledge to know that they must stop being corrupt. But does the knowledge of knowing that what they're doing is wrong stop them from doing what is wrong? No. So knowledge is not power, because every person who is corrupt, every person who is abusive, generally speaking, people who are abusive, intimidators, victimizers in a workplace where they are bullies of people, they create toxic environments, on an intellectual level, they know that what they're doing is not right. The problem is that they do not have the character to stop them from doing what is not right.
So Shawn, sorry, so I just need to stop you there quickly. So when you talk about knowledge is not power, I think just for the sake of the audience, we need to maybe just define for them what you mean by the word power, because power means different things to different people, right? So maybe just if you say knowledge is not power, within the context of what definition of power do you make that statement?
So when they say knowledge is power, there is the assumption that the more you know, the more powerful you are, and that the less you know, the less ignorant you are, right?
Okay.
And that if you are ignorant, you are powerless, but if you are knowledgeable, you are powerful. And there's elements of truth to that. Now, let me just say this, even though I say knowledge is not power, I love knowledge. We need to pursue knowledge. We need to read. We need to study. We need to educate ourselves. We need to skill ourselves. The acquisition of knowledge is not the problem. The problem with knowledge is that we acquire knowledge at the expense of acquiring character on which knowledge needs to be grounded and founded on. So knowledge in itself is not evil, right? It's the character of the individual in which the knowledge is that makes the power useless or abusive.
And would I be correct in saying that the character that you overlay that knowledge on informs the intent in the application of the knowledge? You see, the
Exactly.
coffee helps.
It helps. It helps. And here's the thing about with character, right? It not only overlays, it underpins. So if you want to look at a sandwich, if the burger's in the center and the two buns on either side, what character does, it gives structure to whatever knowledge
Love
is,
that.
right?
So that's the scaffolding, right? It's the
Exactly.
scaffolding that everything hinges off. Okay.
And you know what it does? It protects. And like Miles Monroe said, character is our protection. Character protects leadership. Because if you are a leader and you are highly knowledgeable, gifted, smart, intelligent, whatever, but that knowledge is not undergirded by the foundation of leadership, and the foundation of leadership is character. If the knowledge does not have character that it grounds itself in, this knowledge is going to become abusive knowledge. Then the person who lacks character is going to take what he knows. How many of us have not accused people of saying he think he knows too much, he think he's too clever, he's too smart? Why? Because the individuals with the knowledge know they are knowledgeable, know they are gifted, know they are smart, intelligent, bright, and they abuse the knowledge that they have to get what they want. But as long as you have character and knowledge, your character determines how you use your knowledge. So you don't use your knowledge to abuse people, undermine people, devalue people for your self-interest. Character allows you to guide your knowledge, steer your knowledge. It's the compass for your knowledge and how to disseminate the knowledge and the information that you have. So I might be knowledgeable on a certain thing. If we talk about the mentor, mentee, coach relationship, the coach, the mentor has the knowledge and the information. But if he doesn't have the character that he needs to relay and to impart that knowledge, if he's abusive, if he shouts, screams, intimidates, if he looks at his mentee and he says, you're an idiot, you're a stupid, you're slow to learn, your knowledge is powerful, your knowledge is abusive because your character is abusive. So at the end of the day, you got a question?
No, I just wanted to sort of drop a pin on something you said a few seconds ago, because it's actually so powerful. It's echoing in my mind right now, where you said that character is the compass, right?
Yes.
That steers the direction that knowledge gets applied into. And that for me is it's a tweetable statement.
Sure.
Because I think in so many aspects, these are especially clever people, right? Sometimes our intelligence is actually our worst enemy, because we think of these terms, the terminology, and we think those are simple things. But there are so many intricate layers when you start unpacking what's character, what's knowledge, the concept of power. In other words, the level and the way you assert authority at the end of the day. But and I sometimes do bring this up with some people because I'm a little bit of a sci-fi buff, but you know, Spider-Man's uncle had a thing, right, where he said, you know, with great knowledge comes great responsibility.
Definitely.
And I think the way you are unpacking this right now, it's blowing the mind. But I think it's such an important journey you are taking us. You're taking us on. And I'm going to reiterate this again. Character is the compass that steers the direction where you apply the knowledge. And sorry, you may continue, because I needed to pause there.
Absolutely.
That was powerful.
Right. Absolutely right. So no, thank you for that. So knowledge without character will cause you to do. Now check this out. I will say this slowly because you want me to, right? Knowledge without character will cause you to do wrong while knowing right.
Ooh, yeah.
Knowledge without character will cause you to do wrong while knowing knowledge, intellectual, right? Knowing right. The power is no longer in the knowledge. Power is no longer in the knowledge. The power is in the character of the person who has the knowledge. So it's no longer knowledge is power. I believe character is power. Character is power. And I mentioned this earlier, but just let me reiterate this.
Yes.
And because I think this is significant. The greatest injustices and abuses and ill treatment and victimization and pain and suffering perpetuated in societies and in organizations, in governments and in companies are not caused by those who lack knowledge, Inga. Are not by those who lack skill and intelligent and information. On the contrary, it is caused by those who have a wealth of knowledge. Listen to the statement. They have a wealth of knowledge, but are poor in character.